Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Prodigy from Kilo 23. Today we're going to continue upgrading the Echo 1 AK700. Now on the first part of our two-part series here at upgrading the Echo 1 AK700, we checked out all the compression and pneumatic parts, the piston head, cylinder, and cylinder head. This time we're going to be checking out the electrical and mechanical parts. So let's go over what we're going to install today. First, we have the Echo 1 torque motor. This guy is a really strong short type motor and it's going to pull the spring in there really smoothly. Second part we're going to throw in are some Modify 7mm bearings. The gun already has 7mm bearings in it, but the Modify ones are a little bit smoother, they're going to run more efficiently and last longer. We also have the Echo 1 18:1 steel gear set we're going to throw in. The stock ratio gears are about the same ratio as these new upgrade gears, but the Echo 1 gears are going to be much stronger. Finally, we have the Modify switch assembly wired to the back for the version 3 gearbox. This has Modify's trigger switch, low resistance wiring, and it already has a Dean's connector installed. Alright, let's start off by installing some Modify 7mm bearings. These actually fall into place quite nicely. Obviously you get 6, one for each end of each gear. And since we have our bushing installed, we can go ahead and install our gears. Like I said, these are the Echo 1 Max 18:1 ratio gears, and they're actually pretty strong. They look pretty nice and they're well made. So with the gears and bushings there, we can go ahead and shim your gears. These are the stock shims that came in the gun. Now I do like to keep them unless they're mangled or bent in some way, then you can just throw them out. Shims are kind of a vital thing. You do need them, and it's always a good idea to have quite a few of them around. I've got my little assortment here that I keep in this little container, and we'll go ahead and mix them in with the stock shims and get the gears shimmed here. Now, I'm also going to install my new motor here too. This is also a necessary thing when you're shimming the gears. You want to be able to get the bevel height right to the pinion gear. And on AKs and other version 3 gearboxes, it's actually much easier to do than it is on a version 2 gearbox. That's why first we're going to install our motor. You'll need to remove these two Phillips head screws here and open up your motor cage. Installing your new motor can be a little bit tricky, so bear with me. Putting your plate in here is a good idea after you put your motor in this first half of the cage. That way you can easily get it in there. Fitting them both in there at the same time can be a little bit tricky. You also want to make sure that your black connector is in the front and your red one is in the back. Now if you're new to shimming, I highly recommend finding a guide for that. I do have one I can put in the description below as a link. The idea behind shimming is to get the height between the teeth and the gears correct, so you get as much tooth mesh as possible. You also don't want the edges of the gears to scrape on the gearbox at all, and there's a lot of different things to look out for. So like I said, there are a lot of different guides out there, and so I highly recommend looking one up if you're a little bit new to shimming. Heights on them are pretty good, and it took a few more shims than I thought it would, and a little more time, but they're pretty good now. Now on to installing our trigger switch assembly. I like to do this after I get the gears shimmed, so there's fewer components in the gearbox that get in my way. Comes with a new trigger shuttle there, and like I said, you've already got a Dean's connector soldered on, so it's really nice, easy to get all that installed. It's got a new spring here for the trigger shuttle, and thankfully it includes a screw to keep the wire harness in place. The original gun does not have it. It's not a necessary item, but it is nice to have it in there. The pressure of the gearbox houses the trigger switch assembly well enough to keep it in place. Now the original trigger switch got so-so contact, so it looks like this one will get a little bit better contact in there. All right, I've got the gearbox closed up here, and I've got it hooked up to an Echo 1 7.4 volt LiPo. Let's give it a quick try. Alright, now we have all our internal parts installed, every single upgrade we're going to do to this gun. Let's take it out to the chrono and see how it's shooting. We'll be testing the AK700 on 2 batteries once again. First is an Echo 1 7.4 volt, and the second one will be an Echo 1 11.1 volt, both LiPo batteries. Now you'll notice we did have a small FPS drop. That is primarily from the spring settling down. You get a new gun, the spring's probably going to be pretty hot. After you use it for 1,000 plus rounds, the spring is going to settle down, you're going to lose a little bit at FPS, it's going to settle down to where it's going to run for the most part of its life pretty much. So that 370 mark is apparently where it's at. I went to Milsim West and brought this gun back, and this is after the event, so having run about 1,000 rounds through it at the event, it's shooting roughly 370 now. I want to give a big thanks to Brian from Echo 1 and a big thanks to Jag Precision. You guys rock. It is always a ton of fun to build these guns and to work on them and to film these reviews and edit them and put them up on YouTube, and it's a ton of fun. I really enjoyed. Thanks a lot, guys. And it was a pleasure meeting you guys out at Milsim West. You guys rock. Thanks for watching. I'm Prodigy from Kilo 23. This is the Echo 1 AK700, my build, and I'm going to be running this build for quite a while. Love this gun. Thanks for watching, guys, and take it easy.